Hello and welcome to the morning edition of MBC News with me, Obile Kaisa. The headlines. President Professor Mutharika reaffirms his commitment to strengthening fraternal bonds of friendship between Malawi and Scotland following his appointment as the co-honorary patron of the Scotland-Malawi partnership. Parliament calls for reforms to safeguard the Nation Economic Empowerment Fund (NEF) from political interference. And the new Malawi netball coach, Deborah Fuller, says Malawi has got talented netball players capable of winning tournaments. And now the news in detail. President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika has reaffirmed his commitment to strengthening fraternal bonds of friendship that exist between the people of Malawi and Scotland. This follows Professor Mutharika's acceptance of his appointment as the co-honorary patron of the Scotland-Malawi partnership. This will be the second time for the President to serve as the partnership patron, which, according to Chief Secretary in the Office of the President and Cabinet, Justin Saidi, is a reflection of the network's trust in the President's leadership. Scotland-Malawi Partnership is an international development network which was created to foster collaboration and friendship between the people of Scotland and Malawi. Vice President Dr. Jen Ansah has hailed Japan for supporting various development projects in the country, including agriculture, health and infrastructure. Dr. Ansah made the remarks on Wednesday afternoon when Japanese Ambassador to Malawi, Naito Yusushu, paid a courtesy call at her office. Austin Fukula reports.
The Vice President said Malawi is resolute in its efforts to attract more Japanese investment into the country. Dr. Ansah assured the ambassador that the government will ensure that Japanese companies currently operating in Malawi are able to function effectively, contributing both to their profitability and to the development of the two nations. Dr. Ansah also commended the government of Japan for its continued support towards the M1 road expansion and reconstruction project, particularly in strengthening the Nacala corridor. The Vice President noted that the Nacala corridor initiative, backed by Japanese commitment of $7 billion, presents transformative potential for regional trade and integration. In an interview, Japanese Ambassador to Malawi, Naito Yasuchi, said it was an honor to pay a courtesy call on the Vice President and discuss bilateral relations in areas such as infrastructure, trade and health. Yasuchi said his country is keen to strengthen bilateral ties through business opportunities that will benefit both nations.
Recently, we had a business networking event, and surprisingly, 17 Japanese companies participated. And the area of interest seems to be infrastructure and also mining, and also a lot of impact business.
Malawi and Japanese diplomatic relations date back 62 years. Austin Fukule, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Chief Secretary Justin Saidi has advised all ministries, departments and agencies to collaborate with the Department of E-Government in developing ICT systems and applications to enable citizens enjoy online access to various essential services. Dr. Saidi made the call in Salima during a high-level artificial intelligence training for principal secretaries. Isaac Jali has a report.
Opening a high-level training on artificial intelligence for principal secretaries in Salima, Chief Secretary Justin Saidi advised the principal secretaries to ensure they embrace digital transformation that benefits Malawians through seamless access to services such as passport applications, driving licenses, including people in remote areas. Saidi observed that artificial intelligence is no longer an emerging technology, but one that governments, including Malawi, should leverage to improve efficiency and provide more responsive and inclusive public services. He said this aligns with President Professor Arthur Peter Mutharika's directive that all ministries, departments and agencies must decisively embrace digital transformation to ensure that Malawians have access to essential services online. Saidi, however, warned ministries, departments and agencies against entering into ICT contracts with vendors without adequate due diligence or appropriate scrutiny, saying government has consequently encountered challenges with ICT vendors on critical services such as passport printing.
This is a good program for the PSS. As you are aware, we are in a globalized world, and due to globalization, a number of things have taken place, including the introduction of artificial intelligence. Things are happening, and the AI is being used widely, and Malawi is not an island. We need to know more of AI. We need to know how we can use it, how we can benefit from it, and these being leaders in various MTAs, it is important that they take part and learn how to deal with issues of AI.
For his part, Principal Secretary for E-Government, Prosper Mopiwa, said the department is working to ensure that 9,000 government offices and institutions, including hospitals and schools that are not yet connected, should be connected to the internet.
For now, what we have is a fiber connecting almost all the districts, right? And this fiber connectivity is bringing in internet to the district councils, right? But what we are now looking at is now extending this connectivity to the rural areas, inside the districts.
The training was arranged with support from the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, and drew principal secretaries from various ministries and departments. Isaac Jali, MBC, Salima.
The Parliamentary Committee on Commissions, Statutory Corporations and State Enterprises has called for the urgent prioritization of governance and legal reforms to safeguard the Nation Economic Empowerment Fund, NEF, from political interference. Presenting the report in Parliament, Chairperson of the committee, Sylvester Ayuba James, said the committee established that NEF has deviated from its core mandate in the implementation of its loan programs. The report further reveals that some loans were dispersed to large-scale farmers and politically connected individuals on political grounds, with others allegedly issued as incentives for political support. The committee also observed that NEF wrote off loans on several occasions, including in 2016 and 2023, and noted disparities in the distribution of loans, with some regions receiving significantly larger allocations than others. Sylvester Ayuba James explains more in an interview with our reporter, Chinsisi Moyo.
We have made a number of recommendations. It ranges from operational issues to legal matters. For example, we also did discover that NEF was established by a presidential decree way back in 2005, I think, when late President Bingu Mutharika had just declared that there would be a fund that would cater for those that are underprivileged, particularly in the villages, which was Malawi Rural Development Fund or something like that. And since then, it has remained under the office of the President and Cabinet, and there has been no proper legal document to establish NEF so that its mandate and the operational limits are properly defined. So we recommended that there should be a statute that establishes NEF as a corporate institution by government, and that statute should also define NEF's mandate and the kind of people that can get loans from NEF should also be properly stated. And we also recommended that the assets that were about to be disposed of should not be disposed of. There's no need to hurry with the disposal process.
The Department of Disaster Management Affairs, DOTMA, has mobilized 149.7 billion kwacha in food aid for the 2025-2026 Lean Season Food Insecurity Response Program out of the 209.4 billion kwacha target. This is contained in a statement released by the department. Mercy Zamar reports.
Following the devastating effects of prolonged dry spells, President Professor Arthur Mutharika declared a state of disaster and appealed for local and international support towards the affected people. Department of Disaster Management Affairs has been coordinating the provision of relief assistance and donations to the affected, following the development and implementation of the 2025-2026 Lean Season Food Insecurity Response Program. In a statement released on Wednesday, already the department has managed to mobilize 149.7 billion kwacha from bilateral and multilateral organizations, humanitarian partners and companies. Meanwhile, spokesperson for DODMA, Chibililo Kamula, has thanked both international partners and local for coming to the rescue of Malawi.
Out of the total requirements of 209.4 billion kwacha, we have mobilized financial and in-kind resources amounting to 149.7 billion kwacha, and this is around $85.5 million US dollars. And this leaves a resource gap of 59.7 billion kwacha, which is around $34.1 million US dollars. We express our sincere appreciation to foreign governments, bilateral and multilateral organizations, humanitarian partners, companies. Of course, the list is endless for the donations which are significantly contributing to the effective implementation of the 2025-2026 Lean Season Food Insecurity Response Program.
Currently, there are growing calls from members of parliament for help for their constituents who have been affected by hunger. Mary Zamawa, MBC News, Blantyre.
Mzuzu Central Hospital has commended President Professor Arthur Mutharika, who has pledged that government will procure a dialysis machine for the facility in the 2026-2027 financial year. Professor Mutharika made the statement in Parliament during the opening of the 2026-2027 budget meeting. George Mkandawire reports.
In an interview with the MBC, Mzuzu Central Hospital Public Relations Officer Blessed Kundowe said the machine will reduce the cost that patients and the hospital incur during referrals. Kondowe further said the availability of the dialysis machine will also ensure that patients have timely access to the service. According to Kondowe, the hospital, which currently does not have a dialysis machine, refers at least 8 patients to Kamuzu Central Hospital in Lilongwe and Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Blantyre for the service. Health rights advocate George Jobe of Malawi Health Equity Network, Mehin, says for quite a while, this is what they have been advocating for.
Districts around in Mzuzu have been going to Kamuzu Central for dialysis, which has been very costly on the part of those with kidney problems, and also it takes time. Hence, we have been advocating, asking government to ensure that we have one in Mzuzu, and also we mentioned other strategic areas that can help to reduce distances to spots with the dialysis services.
Another activist, Maziko Matemba, describes the development as timely.
For us, I think this is a welcome move, and in fact, having this dialysis machine in the north for the first time, I think it's a good reform which has to be commended, so that no one should suffer financial hardship while seeking care, because this is one of the key fundamentals on achieving universal coverage by 2030. So for us as advocates, fighting for patients' rights and also fighting for health workers' rights, I think this is commendable, and we hope this will come sooner so that everyone is saved. If someone is in the north, they're able to have this service being done on them.
Dialysis is the process of removing excess water, solutes and toxics from the blood in people whose kidneys can no longer perform these functions naturally. Mzuzu Central Hospital has never had a dialysis machine since its opening in 2000. George Nkandawire, MBC, Mzuzu.
You're watching MBC News. A reminder of our top stories. President Professor Mutharika reaffirms his commitment to strengthening fraternal bonds of friendship between Malawi and Scotland, following his appointment as the co-honorary patron of the Scotland-Malawi partnership. Parliament calls for reforms to safeguard the National Economic Empowerment Fund, NEF, from political interference. And new Malawi netball coach Deborah Fuller says Malawi has got talented netball players capable of winning tournaments. Welcome back. Democratic Progressive Party DPP has officially unveiled Dexton Gunsalu as its candidate for the upcoming by-election in Blantyre West constituency scheduled for 17 March. The unveiling ceremony took place at Chikuli grounds where hundreds of DPP supporters witnessed the occasion. Chisomo Break reports.
Unveiling Gunsalu, hundreds of DPP supporters converged at Chikuli grounds. DPP's National Campaign Director Chifundo Makande said the party has only endorsed the people's choice in Gunsalu.
In 2025 September, had it been that the elections, the MP's elections were held in September, we could have won this constituency. And we are also sure that this time we win this constituency because we believe that the candidate that we are fielding now, Gunsalu, will have his own support that he had in September, and also the support from our candidate, Dr. Kumalawi, who was supposed to stand on DPP candidate this time around. So if you combine these two, we believe that this constituency we might win maybe with over 70%.
In an interview after his unveiling ceremony, Gunsalu said he was more aware of the people's needs in the constituency and he would deliver once elected.
My message to the people is that I will support them in every angle, and I also support the government of DPP in every angle so that our Blantyre West constituency should be a nice constituency in Blantyre.
DPP's regional governor for the southern part of the country, Charles Mchacha, urged the people to campaign peacefully, saying there will be only one winner at the end of the election. The area fell vacant following the death of one of the parliamentary contestants days to the general election. Isomo Break, NBC News, Blantyre.
Mangochi District Council has urged District Executive Committee members to be proactive in implementing project plans under the Reformed Constituency Development Fund, CDF. District Commissioner for Mangochi, Rodney Simwaka, made the remarks during a District Executive Committee ordinary meeting organized to update council members on progress of the Constituency Development Fund, which government is set to disperse in all the constituencies across the country. Francis Panda has filed this report, read by Owen Mavola.
In readiness for the implementation of the reformed 5 billion kwacha Constituency Development Fund, CDF, District Commissioner for Mangochi, Rodney Simwaka, has challenged all council working committees to intensify preparations for the project fund. He was speaking in Mangochi during ordinary District Council Executive Committee meeting aimed to provide update on the CDF implementation, where 4 district development partners such as AMREF Africa, CADECOM and other organizations presented new projects which they are planning to roll out. According to the district commissioner, delays in the procurement of materials for projects, for example, is one of the major contributing factors that affect projects, and has since asked committees to draw project implementation roadmaps by March 2026.
Yes, we have a history of delayed implementation of projects that take time to be completed. So the discussion was how do we ensure that the implementation of projects is within the its project lifetime. So we felt that one of the many things that contribute to the delay in implementation is procurement. So we discussed that in our roadmap to ensure that the project is implemented in time, we will have to front the activities in the sense that let's start the procurement process now. Soon after the projects are confirmed, the BOQs are done, the costing is done, and we know how much it goes to which project, and then the processes start.
And in his remarks, Chairperson for Mangochi Civil Society Organizations, Joseph Chamambala, said the call is timely, and as civil society organizations, their duty will be to ensure that the project implementation process is duly followed.
True, they did. The district commissioner did submit to the fact that delays in the procurement of the project materials is one of the key elements that delays project implementation. And he did also mention that the CDF, the incoming CDF, is performance-based, and that will need to fast-track the procurement processes so that the people of Mangochi benefit from the CDF. And it is very imperative that those who are in the position, for example, in the procurement section, they should be able to understand the concept and be able to fast-track the procurement processes so that the people of Mangochi don't lose out from the monies that are going to come into the district.
Currently, Mangochi District Council is already working on the constituency development plans to ensure a smooth implementation of the CDF.
Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank of Malawi, Henry Matanga, has urged savings and credit cooperative organizations, SACCOs, in the country to substantially cater for the needs of their clients to promote the growth of SACCOs in Malawi. Speaking during the launch of United Civil Servants SACCO Mponela branch in Doha, Matanga stated that addressing the needs of Malawians leads to the expansion of SACCOs, which subsequently contributes to the nation's development. Trinity Kapantengo reports.
Savings and credit cooperative organizations, SACCOs, in Malawi have been recognized for promoting financial security in many households. Speaking during the launch of the United Civil Servants SACCO Mponela branch in Doha, Reserve Bank of Malawi Deputy Governor Henry Matanga called on SACCOs to effectively serve Malawians in order to enhance financial inclusion and ensure the growth of the institutions.
SACCOs are for members, and what is important is that they put in place mechanisms that will be saving their members. But above all, they need to make sure that as the SACCOs are being managed, they are being managed in a manner that is sustainable to make sure that they grow for the benefit of the members, but also they grow to make sure that they attract other members to join the SACCO. That way, the economy is going to benefit from more SACCOs that are well managed.
Malawi Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, Moscow Chief Executive Officer Fumbani Nyangulu commended United Civil Servants SACCO for promoting the growth of financial cooperatives, which in turn contributes to national development.
When we see SACCOs like United Civil Servants SACCO, which has about 71 billion in assets and a membership of 100,000, being the biggest SACCO, and now they're opening in rural areas in all the districts in the country. This is really going very well with what our plan is to make sure that the SACCOs are serving more and more Malawians in the country.
In his remarks, Board Chairperson for United Civil Servants SACCO, Frecha Mhango, highlighted that the SACCO will continue serving the interest of its clients by adhering to professional standards that promote financial literacy and inclusivity.
Desire that we give excellent services to our members by upgrading the branches where the service is being done. We also make sure that the staff are very professional to make sure that they provide excellent service to members, and the board should always be on the lookout to provide the oversight to the institution.
Since its establishment in 1994, United Civil Servants SACCO has grown exponentially and has now 28 branches across Malawi. It is also widely known as one of the largest SACCOs in the country, with a membership of about 100,000 people. Trinity Kapantengo, MBC, Doha.
In an attempt to resurrect the Daniel Kachamba name in Malawi music industry, nephew to late Dr. Daniel Kachamba, DJ Kachamba, who lives in South Africa, is set to launch his album this month end. The 14-track album is comprised of new songs and rendition of Dr. Daniel Kachamba classic songs. Simeon Boyce reports.
Wimbo DJ Kachamba.
One of the songs in the album is titled Panali Agogo. The song was originally done by late music icon Daniel Kachamba, who donned the music ears in the 1950s. DJ Kachamba reproduced the song and featured a renowned musician, Evans Meleka. Other notable songs in the album include Infant Nkondo, Malioa Kachamba, Makolo, Molibize, Chauta, Amaya Nati, Alipobe, and Putsanza Ntima. In an interview with NBC, DJ Kachamba, who is in the country on a holiday, says he has decided to launch the album because of increased demand for his music.
Ndaona nyimbo mina zilandilira Malawi, ndatulisa nyimbo zojuluka zosiyana ngati masingo. Ndiye naona mina zilandilira, ndiye naona ndi chinthu cha nzeru kuti ndapangile no album.
The musician says the album will only be accessed online on various platforms that include Spotify. Simon Boyce, NBC News, Blantyre.
In sports, new coach for the Malawi national netball team, Deborah Fuller, says the country has the talent to achieve the targets set for her. The New Zealander has been tasked with leading the team to the 2027 Netball World Cup and achieving a top 7 finish at this year's Commonwealth Games in Scotland. Speaking during her unveiling ceremony in Blantyre, Fuller said the talent, hard work and determination she has seen in training this week are encouraging and suggests the targets can be met. Well, that item concludes this edition of NBC News. A reminder of our top stories before we leave. President Professor Mutharika reaffirms his commitment to strengthening fraternal bonds of friendship between Malawi and Scotland, following his appointment as the co-honorary patron of the Scotland-Malawi Partnership. Parliament calls for reforms to safeguard the National Economic Empowerment Fund, NEF, from political interference. And new Malawi netball coach Deborah Fuller says Malawi has got talented netball players capable of winning tournaments. Keep up to date with our news coverage on our digital pages by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You're with me, Upili Kaisa. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely morning.
From my library.